emailing me right away saying, Ed, I have to take this down. But, if you want it up, just combine those into one document and then it's okay. And I said, oh, I was deliberately separating them so the people who aren't gamers and don't give two hoots about the thing won't say, why am I paying for this gaming shit? And he
Right.
said, no, he said, I get what you're doing, but the nature of the agreement we've signed and we can't break because the only reason any of you guys are being allowed to do any of this at all is it's found money. So some TSR vice presidents are really happy that somebody found some money out of the blue they don't have to do anything to earn.
Hmm.
Well, the dumbest thing is that there's so much that they're just leaving lying on the table and they don't realize they have it because they're too short-sighted. I mean, TSR, for all of its faults, they produce some pretty decent little board games and smaller games, and all it would take is a couple of months of work to turn them into,
Hmm.
I want to
Yeah,
play awful green things from outer space on my phone.
right.
They could do that with a tiny amount of work, but they don't bother because they don't recognize what they've got.
That's right. But here's the thing. What you and I are seeing is endless infighting between
Yeah.
executives at the company who are not gamers and don't
Hmm.
give two hoots.
It's just the
But
numbers. Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Hmm.
hey, I have a bigger corner office than you, and I deserve it because I understand this shit and you don't. Cause see, your latest thing tanked, and we are going, but you've got this. The logical thing to do would be that, and they don't care because they're not gamers. It's all um arm wrestling, tussling between
Right.
executives. Look, I did this better than you. Ha 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 ha.
Hey,
And so when you say it doesn't make sense, I say you're missing the point.
Hmm.
Nothing they do makes sense. That's not what
Well,
they're
that's
doing it
true.
for.
Okay. Yeah.
Ed, you said about fiction, that they'll license it out to, they will license it third party, but again, to Jeff's point, it won't be to multiple tours of the world. It'll be to
Well,
again, probably likely a single
yes.
publisher.
Yeah, well, no. There's two things they're doing. To get Bob off their back,
Hmm.
um, serendipity
Has it?
th there was a um, editor at HarperCollins who was a Bob fan.
Hmm.
So
That
he
helps.
he convinced his uh, company to license new Bob novels, which is why we've had this string of new Bob novels. Now,
Okay.
HarperCollins is taking a financial haircut because to pay WotC their share and the share Bob expects for himself, they are making no money. But
Hmm.
the serendipity thing was they had lost shelf space in all the American chains, what few American bookselling chains are left,
Hmm.
and he was able to convince them you could get it all back if you have new Drist books and the backlist. You can then bring in the backlist of Drist books because you've got new ones and people will buy them. And
Hmm.
uh, so he was able to sell his bosses on doing this and taking the financial bath.
Right.
The other Realms books are movie tie-ins.
Yeah.
They began as Honor Among Thieves spin-offs, and there were three levels, the usual three levels. Here's picture book of stills from the movie with one sentence of thing on every page for really
Hmm.
young kids. Here's the junior novelization by some Jewish writer in Hollywood we've never
Hmm.
heard of. Okay, and he churned it out. Then here's J. Johnson doing the teens version, and she's been allowed to do a spin-off sequel, so that's a
Hmm.
completely separate kettle of fish from what we're all talking about.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
So
And
what's going to happen when Bob retires?
Bob has almost retired
I know
now.
he has. He told me, he's like, God, let a guy retire. I keep bugging him to come on the show. And he's like,
Yeah.
God, let a guy retire.
No, he doesn't want it, like he's done.
Yeah.
But But his kids are now thinking, maybe we should keep the goose that lays the golden eggs alive. And
Mhm.
like Gino is making noises, and what they basically did is they all went out to the West Coast and chilled out for
Mhm.
years, as in they sort of left everything behind and took the family time they needed to take
Right.
to just be
Mm.
together and not care about anything else. Now Bob is getting a little restless, but he'd already said, I want to retire. I'm tired of Drist. So now you're going to see him write about Drist's daughter,
Yep.
okay? Because he's
Crazy.
tired of Drist. Yeah. Yeah, because he still can't come up with names. Sorry, Bob. Well, it's true. I'm not being mean to the. Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was
It's
bad
okay.
enough we have a sword named Twinkle.
Yes, yes. It's
Come on,
bad enough we
just
have us.
please make up a different word and say it's the drow word for
Hey,
twinkle,
hey,
and then move past it.
hey, Steven. None of that joking, dag nabbit.
I don't know. I've had that conversation with Bob at a couple of bars over a couple of Gen Cons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, no, I mean, Bob does want it, but that here's the thing. They are very leery of letting everybody else do fiction because they
Yeah.
are afraid of three things. One, Ed starts writing near poor. Ed is not going to do that, but
They
they
say
cannot.
that like it's a bad thing.
I
Yes, I
know.
agree. Um,
Come
they're
on.
also even more afraid that Aaron Evans, Eric Scott DeBee, and others of the young dragons who have proven that they can function in the marketplace and sell books will merrily resume their favorite Realms character series and will become popular, and they will have no control over it. And so the only way they can control is by having a big fight with that author or banning it or shutting down DM's Guild for everybody. In other words, they don't know any. You see, control matters to these executives. Daily control.
Cut off the nose to spite the face. Lovely.
Yeah,
They're afraid
exactly.
of money.
I mean, you and I go, yeah, we don't want our Realms books. They want to win turf battles. They don't give a flying fuck about Realms books. It's
Right.
all just points in the game for them. It really is. I wish
So
it wasn't.
unless we could pitch them, no, this is the Forgotten Realms branded mousetrap built by gnomish Lantanese people. Yeah. Then you can
Uh,
tie it in.
guess what? They would go for that, but boy, would they want a lot of shekels from you
Oh
for
yeah.
the licensing fee. They go, "Oh, you're a real licenser.
Wait, the
Good, you can pay us
licensing
real money."
fee? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You already own Mousetrap. You already own the realms. Why the hell do I have to pay a fee to give you the idea? Just go. You got somebody on staff. Do it. Make it happen.
Like I've been here before. Oh, that whiskey sky is calling my name. Burns my throat, but it heals my pain. Every chord strums a wound.
Like